Hello everyone, my name is RWBY, and we just got our first look at the RWBY Justice League crossover film Superheroes and Huntsmen Part 1. It looks like something. It exists. I've made a separate video to go over the facts, all of the promotional material, the premise of the film, the voice actors that are involved. That video is already live on my channel, so if you're only interested in that stuff, there is a link to it in the description. But this video is purely for my own opinions, so I won't get too far into all of those other details. Overall, I'd say that I'm pretty meh about this movie, which is still more than most people would say. So let's get into it. This is the first image that we have for the film. Lots of people have clowned on it for Batman and Superman's designs, or just the overall look. I don't have too much to say, which I guess says a lot. I'm not impressed. For the background, I will say, it does look like the start of Volume 4's aesthetic, right? Those first scenes of Volume 4 with Team Ranger. But if they made that kind of scene today with the level of detail that they have now, Volume 4 has a fairly bare-bones look to it, so this is nicer, but it's still not interesting. This doesn't really grab you in any remarkable way. Whereas that Volume 9 image of the whole entire Ever After with that tree in the middle, now that is interesting. That is a promotional image. As for the characters, Superman and Batman, the idea here is that the Justice League members have been transported into Remnant, and somehow they were put into the bodies of teenagers despite themselves being adults. Wonder Woman, Green Lantern, The Flash, Cyborg, and Vixen are also in the film with Superman and Batman, but they haven't been shown yet in any material. We haven't seen their designs at all. This is literally the first promotional image for the film, besides this one of just the title. Before this image was released, we didn't have the film's premise yet. We didn't go into it expecting the characters to look like they're 20 years old. So yeah, this is a big moment of, oh. Which I guess just about sums up the general reception for this film so far. It would be better to show a poster, or something like a promotional image to promote the film instead of a screenshot at perhaps a weird angle. But we don't seem to have that. I get the feeling that they haven't made a promo poster, or else, well, we would have seen it. The major thing, I think, with this movie, or these movies, because this is a part 1 of 2, is it's not RWBY Volume 9. It is yet another side project that has released since Volume 8 that is not Volume 9. So I don't blame anybody for not being interested in it. To be honest, I'm not. I'm not interested. Am I going to watch it though? Yes, I will. And I can't understate how invested I still am in Volume 9. I'm still confident that I'm really going to enjoy that volume. So I'm not invested in this non-canon crossover. But I can't separate that from how I feel about Volume 9, and I'll still watch this. But ever since Volume 8 ended, it's been nothing but side projects. The Roman Holiday young adult novel about Neapolitan and Roman Torchwick, that came out after Volume 8. Season 2 of the Grim Campaign tabletop RPG show was still finishing after Volume 8. The Fairy Tales of Remnant 2D animated show that retold some of the in-universe fairy tale short stories that were in another actual physical printed book, that also has come out since Volume 8. Then there was also the Ice Queendom anime and the Ruby Arrowfell video game. I'm probably forgetting some others, but the point is, there's just been so much that isn't the show proper. Even though some of it is canon, and some of it's not, none of it is Volume 9, and that's, at this point, we don't care about that stuff if it's just not Volume 9 at this point. Obviously, having all of these side projects is a sign of RWBY's success as a franchise, but it's the fact of having to wait over a year and a half for even any information about Volume 9 when volumes used to air yearly that I can't really blame anybody for the actual show proper being what drives their interest. And Volume 9 will come out. Volume 9 is not in jeopardy. But Volume 10, and anything beyond that, has also not been greenlit yet. I touched on that in a recent video as well, so check that out if you want. Again, the link is in the description. And that's the main thing, I gotta agree. It's not Volume 9, and who asked for it, right? It's weird, it's random. Warner Media greenlit 2 movies for Rooster Teeth to make and probably also mandated when those movies would be made. And yet still, the interest in it is minimal. I will say I have seen comments on my videos over time asking if there's any news about the RWBY Justice League crossover film yet, so I don't mean to say that nobody's interested. I've had comments from people who are interested, but the general audience does not care. It's only those who are still interested in RWBY after years of no main story. And only those who are so invested in the Justice League, or so invested in RWBY, that they want to see their favorite characters regardless of the fact that none of it is canon, only those people are going to care about this. I don't follow DC or Justice League or any of that stuff at all. So I'm only interested as one of the few who are still interested in non-canon RWBY things. After putting out my previous video about Rooster Teeth Animation letting go of its animators, I've heard of some speculation about Warner greenlighting these movies in a way to purposefully try to tank Rooster Teeth Animation to put it under. Personally, I don't believe that. To me, that's a little too five-head. If they wanted to dissolve RT Animation or merge them into Warner Media in a way or do something else, they wouldn't greenlight more movies. They wouldn't give Rooster Teeth money, they would just withhold it. And I do see the argument for, well, they're more likely to greenlight a project that benefits them, benefits DC, rather than just benefiting RWBY. And if the Volume 9 production were actually healthy, and it did release in the fall of this year and it were not delayed, the animators and other crew members might not have had to be let go, because there would have been a return on investment and another green light that could keep them on the crew. Personally, I genuinely don't believe there was anything malicious on Warner Media's part, even when they are the parent company. They're just doing corpa things for the almighty dollar, not that that's necessarily a good thing either. But personally, I am still pretty confident in a RWBY Volume 10, however that might happen. And part of that is because RWBY is Rooster Teeth's biggest property. Justice League is among DC's. For all of the comments that I've seen of doom and gloom for the RWBY franchise, I've seen equal parts optimism based on the fact that these movies are being greenlit on the fact that the executives expect them to do well. They see enough money in RWBY. And I don't think that anybody who wasn't a part of RT Animation or another production company can tell you exactly what this means for them. And of course, nobody who did work there has the ability to share anything either without breaching an NDA. So the question will remain why Volume 10 is not greenlit yet, and when it would be. That does it. I do want the film, or films, to succeed, but they are so out of the blue, and everybody would just rather the main show continues at this point. The crossover movie will release in this spring, which is also roughly when RWBY Volume 9 is said to release. My personal understanding is that Volume 9 will air before this movie does, but that's just because early 2023 sounds earlier than spring 2023. And if that's true, the thing that's supposed to come out after Volume 9 shouldn't be getting more promotion than Volume 9 right now. Volume 9 needs a release date, and it needs it badly. As for the Justice League crossover, I don't mind side projects, but it's clear that I'm in the minority. Again, if you're interested in learning everything that we do know about the film so far, check out my other video that was released at the same time as this one. The link is in the description along with all of my sources. Like and subscribe to stay up to date on further news for this crossover as well as RWBY Volume 9, which I will make a video on once we have an official release date. How much do you or do you not care about this crossover film? How bad is that screenshot exactly? Let me know down below. I'm Rising. Have a good one.